No gold is not in her. She's a dime.
Welcome to another exciting episode of the $1 Million Peddlers. I'm Papergoy,
And I'm Mr. Magazine.
and today we're going to show you some great things that we were able to get and able to sell, and hopefully you're able to find some of these things as well. And as always, you bring the noise first, and I bring the whimper. So go
All right,
ahead.
Here we go. Starting off, sports. We got baseball, Ken Griffey Jr., George Brett, Cal Ripken, jersey bat card, number 20 out of 49. I was asking 48 or 50, something like that, and I took, I think, $40 for it. But I think it's underpriced. To me, it should be like a $100 card.
Wait, so there's,
3 pieces of bats,
wow.
one from each player, so it's pretty cool.
wow, 3 Hall of Famers there for that price. Wow.
Yeah,
And what brand was that?
Oh, that is a very good question. Well, I say Panini. The odds are it's Panini, but if
There you
not,
go.
let me look a little closer. Yeah, we're going to move on to the next one. Oh, those listers kill me. Here we go. All right. I want you to pronounce this for me because you're better at this stuff.
Arena Ohm.
All right. I'll finish the rest because I can understand
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Winter Spring 2009 magazine. That's a fashion mag. It's rare. You know, I think I got $40 out of this as well. I had it up for, I think, a year and a half maybe. But
Now, would that come from New York City?
yeah, big Manhattan deal. Yep.
So at some point, we've got a deal in the works right now, Mr. Magazine does, that will be bringing you some live shots from loading and all that sort of thing, as long as we get all the permissions. And then after that, we'll get into, we'll do shows a couple of times talking about some other pretty big deals. So it'll be real interesting when you find out about this entire fashion deal, because it was brutal. But it was a lot of fun too.
Worth it in the long run. But yeah, oversized fashion magazine. I think it costs $10 to ship this thing, but we got thousands like it that we're listing regularly. So keep an eye out. Moving on. All right, what we got here? We have a first gear, 134 scale, 1960 Model B Mack tractor and trailer. This also came from a different collection, but I think I picked up 1,000 trucks with the Winross. So this is one of those, and sold for close to $100.
Now, what's I mean, I know it says 134th, but roughly
134th, when a truck like that, it would be probably about a foot long.
Okay.
With the whole thing, yeah.
$5 foot long. Nice.
Exactly, for $11 shipping. All right. I think I sold 2 of these in a lot to one guy, or he bought 2. I had a 1968 and 1970 Neiman Marcus Christmas books, catalog books, and I think they went for about $40 a piece, so not too bad.
Now, let me ask you a question. It's not selling because of the Christmas. Why do you think it's selling?
The toys inside?
Probably more likely Neiman Marcus is supposed to be going bankrupt.
No, well, there you go.
So that's another example there where a lot of times you'll have things listed. Like, for example, unfortunately, Little Richard passed recently. And about 2 hours after I read the story, I did sell a Little Richard book that I had. Neiman Marcus is going bankrupt. Somebody searched them out and bought that. So there's rumors J.C. Penney's might be going bankrupt. So you may see a few J.C. Penney things sell in the near future as well. So anytime something hits the news, it kind of reminds people about it.
Sure.
And then they go out and they purchase it, which is wonderful if you have the stuff listed.
All right, nice piece. And Christmas is really around the corner if you think about it.
That is Christmas in July.
That's it. Lastly, for me, going to sports, because Michael Jordan's been in the limelight like always, but more so recently with the ESPN series it's on. So this was a graded 1990 hoops card. It's a common card, probably $5 or $10, but this was a gem mint 10, sold for $36.
And that's actually kind of, I don't want to say low, because I don't know what the population is. I'm sure it's pretty high population, and those were a dime a dozen back in the day. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of interesting, though. Kind of neat, because there is nothing greater than the PSA 10. So if you want to be able to say you own the greatest one in the world, sure, 400 other people do as well, but you do own the greatest one of that card in the world. I'm working on a set myself, and I have a PSA 10 out of the 74-75 basketball. And it's a pretty common PSA 10, believe it or not. There's, 15 of them or something like that. But I own one of them, and it's kind of a neat thing.
Sure, cool.
I think the next thing might be yours, too.
I don't think so.
Oh, no, you're right. It's not. It's mine. For
nice.
once, I bring the news.
Nice.
And I really do bring the news. I bring the noise, too. Assassination newspaper lot of 7. Back in the day, these were pretty common. I would walk by them at sales, that kind of deal. Well, I was at an estate sale, and they had a pile of newspapers, and pile was priced absolutely right. So I paid for it, brought it all home. Then I noticed there were a number of these, so I put it on, and it actually did sell for the $70.
Cool.
I do offer the free shipping, which on something like this is a little bit brutal potentially, except the person that bought it was in New York State. So that worked out really well for me. It has to go priority, of course, but it worked out real well. So if you're an older eBayer like we are, a lot of the stuff that you would have passed by in the early days as being junk, the John F. Kennedy newspapers, the D-Day, the War Ends, the Moon Landing, believe it or not, people are actually buying it at this point. But if you stop and you think about it, this is almost 60 years old. So a lot of people did save them, but a lot of those have gone into collections. About the only newspaper that's really common that doesn't seem to sell very well at all is the Elvis Presley one. So that one you may want to walk by. But the other ones, if you see them priced right. A lot of the old-time dealers will have low prices on them because they do not realize that the market has changed on these. Next thing over here, and I don't want you to be mad at me, Mr. Magazine.
What happened now?
I'm getting into your territory.
Here we go.
I'm selling a record.
Uh-oh.
Oops. There we go. It's a happy birthday card.
Oh.
And it literally is about this size, and you can put it on the record player. Kind of a neat. I saw it at a sale, and I'd never seen a card like that before. Picked it up. Didn't go for a lot of money. I think I took an $8 offer or $9 offer or something rather like that on it. But given that it was 50 cents at a sale or something rather like that, I was pretty happy to have sold it. And again, never had seen it before, so it's kind of neat. Made by RCA as well, so that's kind
Cool.
of
I've never seen it before.
kind of a neat little thing over there. So sometimes you just find weird things when you're out and about. Now this one over here is kind of interesting. This I sourced from my garage. I don't know when I picked it up, 15 years ago, something rather like that. Make offer to buyers. The person had been watching and I made them an offer. And that's one of the greatest things eBay allows you to do now, because I don't know about you, but it really improves my sales. When I send the offers out, I definitely see a bump in sales. This person wanted to know a couple of things about it, and literally all it is, it's a notebook with blank pieces of paper inside, and it's not even complete. But again, it's from the early 1900s, I would say. Come to find out, they told me that it was one of the relatives owned the
Oh, that's pretty cool.
owned the paper manufacturer, or the store. So it's kind of a neat little item, and makes me happy that it's going home, and they'll definitely appreciate it, and they'll be displaying it. So that's kind of a neat thing. It's a lot better in their collection than it is sitting out in my garage. Next thing over here, this is a big Northeastern thing, lacrosse. And if you happen to be in the Northeast, do look around, because you can find lacrosse things up over here. Well, I was leading up to it.
I jumped the gun.
There
Jeez.
you go again.
I was sick of looking at that other one. Sorry.
There you go. Now, this is early lacrosse. Lacrosse is a big Northeastern sport, and if you go around to those flea market sales, garage sales, things like that around here, you can find it. It is pretty big up over here, up through Syracuse. Syracuse is a national powerhouse as far as lacrosse goes, that kind of thing. This is kind of neat. It's the kind of thing that I never would have listed back in the day, because literally it is a drawing. From what I can ascertain, it went into some sort of a yearbook, because it had little markings on the back and all that sort of thing. So probably a lacrosse club or a lacrosse team or something like that from then. Price is kind of low realistically for what it is, but it's been up for almost 2 years. It's been up for 2 years basically. So I'm happy to move it on out. And that being said, like I said, I don't know who the artist is. The name wasn't on there. I don't know where it appeared at, that sort of thing. But it's just a neat little addition to somebody's collection of lacrosse items. And it's an oddball type sport that does get a lot of people buying it. Can you think of any other oddball type sports?
I'm still amazed that they drew it looks like a coach with a hat instead of like a lacrosse player.
That's true too. He is an older. He's an older. Maybe lacrosse is a lot more formal back in the day.
Yeah, apparently so.
Can you think of any other niche type sports or niche type activities like that to be on the lookout for?
Badminton.
Probably lawn tennis. Yes, that probably would be croquet.
Oh, jarts. There we go.
Do not try to sell those. I was thinking more of the extreme type sports. I don't know if you've had a lot of luck with that kind of thing or not. The skateboarding and the what do you call motocross? Is that the bicycle one and that kind of stuff?
It's low production usually.
Yeah, right. And I think that's the key. The people that want it, especially if you can get the early stuff, or one right off the top of my head is surfing.
Yeah.
If you can get 1940s, 50s surfing stuff, even just pictures of it in the background, it does sell, definitely. Next thing we have over here, kind of just interesting that somebody bought it, and I listed this back in 2017, so obviously I had no idea, but personal protective equipment catalog.
Well, that's what people are wearing now, maybe.
Yes, somebody wanted to see what the fashions were back in 1999. Kind of interesting, though, just that sold, and I kind of laughed to myself because I said it had to be the reason why, just because all the face masks and all that sort of thing are in the news. Somebody wanted to buy it and do a little research into the older ones, or just have it just to see how things used to be. Probably compare the current ones to the ones back then, and I'm sure the current ones are a lot better, all that sort of thing. Just kind of an interesting little thing that you just never know what's going to sell, and why I listed it, I don't know. It probably was just in some box lot I picked up somewhere or other, and I said, what am I going to do with it? So I put it on, and it ended up selling. So that's kind of just a neat little sale. This next thing over here is kind of interesting. It'd been on for a while, and I took a low offer on it, but literally it was a guest laundry list. So I assume you've been to some high-end hotels throughout the years?
A good friend of ours does, and we visit him once, so yes, one time.
One time you've been in a high-end hotel, right. But when you're there, you can send your laundry out to be done. So you make yourself up a list, and they take it away, and they launder it and bring it back. And unfortunately, they charge you for it. But this is literally the list that somebody would have made, except they didn't use it. So somebody just kind of took it with them for some reason. How many of those can there possibly be in existence? That's the
one.
And somebody's got it in their collection proudly. I assume the person probably collects Hotel Taft or collects hotels or collects New York City. I cannot believe they're collecting laundry lists, but who knows? People collect all sorts of things, and if they do, they just got a dream piece for your collection. But I guess the point is, and again, it didn't go for a lot, and it did take a while to sell, but when you buy a box lot of stuff and you find a couple of smalls in there, list it. You just never know. Somebody is going to want it at some point, and as long as you can afford the listing fees every month, at some point it will sell. Kind of just a neat little thing. And the last thing we have today, speaking of, this actually, and don't touch it.
I won't.
I had gone to a local estate sale, and I actually did very well at it. I started going through it, and they had some photographs. And it was an entire shoebox filled with personal photographs. The person had gone to various sporting events and that sort of thing, and had taken pictures like the Rochester Red Wings and that kind of thing. And Cal Ripken pictures were in there. And
cool.
I sold those, a lot of those, for way more than I paid for the entire box. And just kind of going through the box, I decided I was going to put a bunch of like things together. And they had a bunch of different, 9 different photos. Snoopy. They apparently were big Snoopy fans, so they had like ornaments on the tree and various presents with Snoopy and all that kind of thing. And I said, what else am I going to do with it? Might as well put it together. And it ended up selling. And again, it's not, a lot of people get into photographs and they love the occupation photos from the 1920s, or the Matthew Brady Civil War photos, or Ansel Adams and all that kind of things. Those things are wonderful. You're not going to find those very often. You can find actual snapshots that somebody took from Christmas in the 1980s, and you can sell them. And that's the sort of thing that a lot of the people don't even think about. You probably would walk by them at a sale. Pick them up. You never know. Group them together, and somebody out there is a Snoopy collector, and somebody out there now has a neat little addition to their collection. So you just never know what you might find out there. I guess my advice is buy it, and as long as you have a good way to market it. Because all the other dealers are walking by that and have no interest at all in it. And I probably, 1 or 2 photos I would just walk by, but just, it was a whole box of them. But now, obviously, I know that if I see these 9 photos somewhere or other and someone wants $1 or $2 on them, I'll buy them because I know that they do sell. So hopefully that helped you. Hopefully you're staying safe, and hopefully you've got your own treasures that you found that you're making your money on as well. Until next time.
Take it easy. Thanks. Bye-bye.